Good morning. All right, so I realize that I am in the worst speaking spot there is, right before lunch. So these panelists, we've got to pay attention to them. I know you're hungry, but our goal here is for you to be a little late to lunch because this was so compelling. My second goal is that, first of all, I'm Harry Klein. I'm the VP of Customer Success at AppSembler. My second goal is that they and you will do all the talking, all right? So let's see what we can do. We're focused today on recent innovations in corporate learning. And I just would love to introduce the panelists here. What we're going to talk about really is how to achieve strategic goals through innovative uses of open edX. And what I want to learn and what we all want to learn is what were they trying to achieve? What were the results? What were the costs? What were some of the things they learned? Some of the mistakes that were made? Etc. So who we have? I'll start here. We have Carolyn Lesser, Director of Engineering at Microsoft, Engineering Director for the Learning and Readiness team at Microsoft. They create learning and readiness experiences for learners, ensuring they find what they want, enjoy the experience, and are recognized for their effort and can share their results with pride. We've got, in the middle, we've got Chinmay Navargi, Program Manager and Data Scientist at Applied Materials. And on different days, depending on the weather, Chinmay wears the hats of a Program Manager and Data Scientist at Applied Materials, where the Open edX instance is called AppliedX. His journey in online education began at Stanford with Stanford Online, where he helped launch the first material science MOOC called Solar Cells, Fuel Cells, and Batteries. And finally, we've got Vishal Gandhi, Head of Product Engineering at McKinsey Company, a technologist passionate about all things product, resident edX evangelist and troublemaker at McKinsey Academy. I quote. His journey into online his experience working at various startups and digital agencies in New York. Lately, anything edX related is interesting to him. So, what were the strategic business initiatives? What we're trying to achieve? Results, top lessons learned, success metrics. So, Chinmay, you want to start us off?
So thanks for the opportunity to be on the panel. This is my second Open edX conference. I see a lot of familiar faces here and very excited to be here, especially in Madrid. Harry gave a wonderful two-line description of what we are doing, what I am doing rather. Our instance is called AppliedX, and I began my journey a little before that at Stanford, where it was really exciting to be part of the MOOC revolution that was happening. And so that excited me, and I kind of switched gears from doing a experimental PhD to sort of follow my passion doing education and online learning. So, and then I joined Applied Materials, where I've done a bunch of different things that I can elaborate on. A little more about Applied Materials. For those of you who don't know, we are the leader in materials engineering solutions. So there's a high chance that any device that you're carrying has gone through an Applied Materials tool. It's used to produce virtually every chip and advanced display. So all your mobile phones probably have gone through a system that looks like the one at the bottom right. So as you can imagine, there is a lot of different kinds of processes that we do, right from engineering to manufacturing to sales, so a wide variety of employees who have very different learning and training needs, very often not solved by traditional higher education. So the company invests heavily in professional development, learning, and training to meet, obviously, business results, but also employee development. And so the AppliedX effort, which is the Open edX-based effort, was a part of this entire initiative. So what is AppliedX? It's our self-hosted, and now it's our primary course platform. And for those of you who don't know, SPOC, it's a small private online course, as opposed to massively open, because these courses are not massively open very often. But we deal with a lot of different content types, as I said. So for engineering, technology, business processes, compliance, all of these learning needs. We started our journey about 2 years ago now, so early or mid 2015. And by now, we have over 200 courses, about 100,000 plus course instances, and across geographies, right? So completed by 10,000 plus users all over the world. So we've come a long way in a short 1.5 to 2 years. So it's been a really exciting journey so far. A little more about what AppliedX is, basically. These are short, self-paced courses, so on a variety of different topics. And they're all created internally. So similar to the Microsoft talk that we heard just before this, we engage our subject matter experts, and we've built a team of instructional designers to work with them to create courses. Now remember, these are not professors or professionals who have teaching experience. They're just experts in their domain, right? They've been in the company for 10 plus years and have all of this technical information in their heads or on their devices, and it's very important for them to share them across the company. We work with them, and one thing I didn't mention in the introduction is I've also done instructional design for some of these courses, leveraging some of my background in material science. So it's been an interesting sort of integrated organization that we built, where we work with these subject matter experts, coach them to create courses and deliver them, right? We are very proud of our global course and video production workflow. So we've developed what we call self-operated studios. So anyone can come into the studio and start creating courses. And of course, we provide all the training and support that is needed to do this video production and then course production going forward, right? So all of the course material and video content is produced and authored with the help of these instructional designers. And the idea is to scale it up even further. So we are a global company, and right now we have studios in USA and in India, but there's plan to set up these pretty low-cost studios all over the world. And our motto is basically democratization of course production. So anyone should be able to create courses and share their knowledge, right, across the company. So this is just some of the video, what a video looks like, and it's pretty hard to just face a camera and speak for a long time. I learned that the hard way, but it gets better. It gets better with practice, and I really like the idea of improv, by the way, to get better at that. So the way we think about this entire effort is in terms of these three buckets, so platform, content, and users. And this is a feedback loop, right? So the content is served to the users, the feedback from the users fuels further platform development, and we have these development in-house. So we are very agile with this process. So as you can imagine, a lot of analytics comes in, a lot of customizations that are informed by the analytics that we invest in, right? And so some of the stuff that we've done, and I'm happy to talk more offline as well, and we have most of our development team here as well, so someone to talk to. We have implemented a lot of customizations. I won't read through all of them, but some of the interesting ones that we wanted a couple of years ago, because intellectual property is such a big concern for us, was secure video hosting, single sign-on, and that did not exist at that point. We are, even in the open edX community, we are a long way from where we started. And so some of these things which are quite available these days were not very available a couple of years ago. So we invested a lot in customizing them internally exactly to suit our needs. The other things, catalog, gamification. So come to my lightning talk for that. I can describe it in 5 minutes there. Some surveys, other APIs. There's a lot of customizations that we have built and successfully integrated. Yeah.
Well, thank
so
you.
that's all I had.
All right.
Thank you for that.
Vishal, thank you.
Thing works. Test. Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Vishal Ghani. I'm the head of product engineering at McKinsey Academy. McKinsey Academy is a small startup, I would say, within McKinsey, and we're a team of about 20, 25 people now. And thanks so much for AppSembler to organize this. This is my 4th Open edX conference, so I consider myself a veteran with edX. And it's always exciting to see some of the old faces and new faces too. So thank you, AppSembler, for organizing this. To start out, I mean, I was asked to send a few decks regarding McKinsey Academy, and knowing McKinsey the way we master our decks, I was able to put everything in one slide. I'm pretty proud about this, so I won't be using this anymore. So McKinsey Academy, what is McKinsey Academy? Our goal is to accelerate transformation of organizations by unlocking the potential of their people. I don't know if anyone of you attended Nick's talk this morning, but McKinsey is definitely very vested into building skill development and capability building for their people, and that kind of internal sort of culture of making sure that we have that knowledge base and content for our internal employees. Our goal was to take that kind of approach and expose it to our clients too, and provide the McKinsey knowledge base and the McKinsey way of approaching things, package that into courses, and offer a digital version of the knowledge base. So that's where McKinsey Academy was born, and we started in 2014. We launched our first program in September 2014. We work very closely with the edX team to build our platform. It's a fully customized instance. As you can see in some of the screenshots here, doesn't look very edX-like. So we've worked a lot on the UX, UI, customization. We've built a lot of the X blocks that maybe you guys use now, like Problem Builder and Image Explorer and drag drop and polls. So we've innovated a lot, and I think it's sort of comes from the partners and directors who have given us the leeway to innovate and really push hard on customization. So yeah, September 2014 was when we launched, and we've experimented a lot on different types of programs. We have program offerings that are purely digital, like McKinsey Management Program. But we've also experimented with blended learning last year, and that's worked out really well. So we have in-person workshops, and we have a program called Future Business Leadership Forum, FBLF, where we offer the online component and also offline. We have in-person workshops. So there's a variety of workshops that we have and programs, and you can go to mckinseyacademy.com if you wanted to, if you're interested. So coming back to this slide, the advantage of McKinsey Academy in terms of just like the differentiated sort of offering is our courses are taught by McKinsey partners, and there's a lot of sort of knowledge that they have and expertise around multiple types of domains within the corporate sort of learning environment. It includes like problem solving, business strategy, being able to communicate for impact. I think I've tried to take that course multiple times because I need to work on that. Team management, another really interesting course. we've also like experimented and sort of seen where the trends are in terms of just what is the industry looking at. So courses like Unlocking the Potential of Women has also been very interesting in seeing how people are taking that course. And so I think the practitioner's perspective is definitely something that's distinctive within Academy. From a platform standpoint, we have employed some certain things like gamification and social learning. We have this notion of group work and group projects within McKinsey. We put people into groups and we assign them a project to do, and that kind of helps facilitate that kind of social learning aspect. There's peer assessments, peer reviews. It's a crazy custom Xblock that we built, so we're pretty proud about that, and most of our courses does have that component. TA guidance, I think, is another sort of really great feature that we have, where there's always a TA for a course, and there's someone available within the discussions forum that not only fosters and makes sure that there's some kind of like ongoing communication and discussions, but also like you can email a TA if you have any questions around the course content or if you're stuck somewhere. And McKinsey, as some of you may know, is all about data, and we're very, very passionate about analytics. Our GM's Mark Matakis, he's so passionate about analytics that not only do we have a very custom company dashboard where you can see like progress per user, but you can also like scale it down to like progress within a company or progress at a program level. So there's a lot of data analytics that we do behind the scenes. We also use tools like Google Analytics and other stuff. So I think that I would say is our infrastructure on analytics is very advanced. We just in terms of just like the edX kind of infrastructure, we actually ended up not using insights because we had just a lot of advanced needs for analytics, and we set up I think a customized sort of reporting system called Tableau. I don't know if you guys know about it, but I just thought I should mention it because of the enterprise audience here, and that's actually worked really well for us. We're able to look at activity on a daily basis, and our GM like hits refresh like every other second just to see like how people are progressing through the course. So I think we're pretty advanced there, and those are kind of I would say our distinctive features on the platform. And our platform experience, you would see here one of the recent innovations that we did is we started with this offering courses within a program, but there was sort of this missing component around being able to understand your learning journey and what's coming. And not only that, but like, with our blended learning initiatives, being able to see like a nice calendar view and a tile view of like what is the next in-person workshop about. So all that kind of was at the program level layer versus the course level layer. So we set up this feature called Learner Dashboard. Some of the guys over here worked with us on that. And that is basically your sort of go-to spot to see not only the upcoming events, but your ongoing courses, progress within the course, and related articles. And also, going ahead and embedding the company branding and theming, whoever is taking the course. That I think has been very powerful in terms of making it a little more seamless. We've done a lot of customizations that you mentioned around SSO and SCORM and a lot of other stuff. So I think in terms of just the pattern of where we're at and our pace, whatever we see in edX, like whatever demos I see today and yesterday, and we've kind of almost done those things, but they're all within our custom instance. We try to contribute back as much as possible, and we're open to that. So obviously, if there's anything that you guys are interested, just let me know after this meeting. So But yeah, in terms of impact, we have about 20K participants. This is 10K, but it's actually 20 now. We have 150 plus clients. Our completion rates are pretty high. I think the completion rate being high is an after effect of not only having the TAs pushing the participants, but also these courses are offered to employees by their bosses, so they're kind of forced to do it. So that's where we're seeing high completion rates. But our content is definitely king here. We have really good content and distinctive sort of videos that we use, and we have experimented with, as you said, like the video size, keeping it under 3 minutes has worked for us. So those kind of things have made sure our completion rates are high. Recommendation rate has also been pretty high. Nick Van Dam mentioned this morning VFTS, which is, we always ask our participants after they complete a course, value for time spent. It's a McKinsey thing, and people really are recommending taking the course, and have really found some of our content very, very helpful, not only in learning like new frameworks and methodologies, but also taking that learning and applying it on their day-to-day job. So I think that's been pretty good. So yeah, that's McKinsey Academy. If anyone has any questions, let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, Vishal. Can I have the Carolyn?
Greetings. So I'm Carolyn. I'm the Director of Engineering at Microsoft in the Learning and Readiness organization. We believe that learning is an enabler to empowering people all around the world to achieve more. And I want to sort of just spend, I was asked to kind of highlight, maybe about 2 sort of things that sort of have been interesting challenges for us, and that we focus on a bit around sort of Open edX. I touched on some of these in my earlier session today. The first I'll talk about is learning at global scale with local relevance, right? And this is how we approach sort of content syndication, if you will, with our MOOC content. To expand access to different geographic regions, to partner to address sort of the different needs within those local demographics. And I'll highlight here a partnership that we have with Eastern Washington University relating to our work on the Microsoft Professional Program in Data Science. And so Eastern Washington University is a small regional school in Cheney, Washington, and they are leveraging our curriculum in data science to enable them to offer a Bachelor of Science degree in data analytics. And they'll use certainly sort of a blended learning sort of environment with that. Their curriculum will include sort of 3 years of their own foundational skill work, that a traditional university would offer in sort of statistics and math and everything to get those individuals, such that by the 4th year, they're fundamentally taking and are prepared for that Microsoft Professional Program in Data Science, and that enables them to offer the Bachelor of Science degree in data analytics. And this is just one example of sort of our through partner motion that we have, and sort of enabling that content syndication of our curriculum with others. It's also enabled Eastern Washington to consider sort of an extension offering and an online presence, and so been sort of an accelerant in their ramp to sort of enable that. And that's been the power of having Open edX available to them. The second one I'll talk about is building customer, partner, and employee capability. So we certainly care a lot about skilling up our own workforce in today's sort of constantly changing technology world. We need to be able to have our employees keep pace with that. That's true within my own engineering group as well, with respect to what we need to know, for tomorrow in order to deliver for today. We also want to enable, our offerings across these 3 audiences. And that proves its own challenges. When you consider employees, we would typically have a different authentication experience than we would for a customer. And then we would also for sort of a partner. So that identity mechanism and authentication piece is actually unique to each one. We also look at the way that, if you will, the information architecture and how that content, course content would be presented at times changes across those three audiences. For partners, the way that we typically expose content is aligned to our competency model around sort of specific technical domains. For customers, it's probably a different type of pivot. And maybe even some more dimensions for that. And then, of course, we fundamentally, one of our biggest challenges is sort of keeping up with the pace of change, right? And how do you sort of adapt and ensure that your course content is always current and aligned? Like in the case of Azure, which is releasing all the time with new features, how do we ensure that any of our courses about Azure actually align to what's in market and available today?
Carolyn, thank you. And thank you for sticking to the 5 minutes. Before I ask any questions out here in the audience? Because I've got several. There's one right up there.
So I was wondering, in all of your experiences, are you thinking at all about efficiency of your courses? Because historically, a lot of the focus has been just getting content and updating content, as opposed to, from a learner's perspective, how quickly can I learn something?
Anyone?
Yeah, I could speak to that. Great question. Definitely in the initial phase, obviously, getting the content out there, we had a vision for the content and what we called it the product development engine, which was sort of content related to engineering product development, right? So it was to be delivered to 8,000 engineers across the company. And so the content piece was there, but as Caroline pointed out as well, obsolescence is something that we definitely faced within 6 months, right? So there's always and that's where the critical feedback loop comes in. So we are very engaged in getting analytics as well as feedback from our learners on a very short cadence, like a high frequency. And so what we do is we strive to improve the content based on that feedback on a regular basis. And the measurement obviously has been through surveys and through obviously anecdotal evidence. Managers' input is also something that is very important because the idea is adoption on the job, right? So since 10% is like the well-known stat that 10% is formal learning, everything else is on the job. So following up with managers, getting manager input and content development, having managers actually become subject matter experts. So having a say as well as ownership of the content, right? Ownership and leadership of the content. So most of our subject matter experts have now become celebrities in the company. So they are recognized experts. People go to them to ask questions, right? And so having all of these mechanisms sort of helps ensure that content is relevant and yeah, it's adopted.
I think we have time for one more. Sorry. Sir.
My question goes to persons from Microsoft and McKinsey. I wonder, why do you use open edX platform rather than developing your own? That's my question.
It's a good question. To be honest, we actually started on this path by developing our own. It wasn't until 2016 that we actually sort of pivoted to Open edX, and that was based upon in 2015 in March when we launched our first 7 courses with edX.org. What was attractive around Open edX was the fact that its community includes academia, industry, nonprofit, right? Like there's a rich community around this, which we found, sort of very appealing and very well aligned, with our mission. And we definitely wanted to embrace being members of an open source community as well. And so that's part of the reason that we invested in Open edX. That said, I would also say that it's not the totality of our learning solution. As I shared in my earlier session about our learning ecosystem, if you will, at the company, especially for internal employees, there are multiple learning and readiness assets. MOOCs are just one part of the set of learning assets that we provide to our employees. You know, sometimes the learning asset is as simple as you know, a PowerPoint, a PDF, or video. In other cases, it's, you know, it's a MOOC for sort of rich skill development, and it sort of depends upon sort of what we need at that time.
Yeah, I think we have like very similar sort of ideas around edX, but I think McKinsey historically is more about in-person workshops and, you know, that kind of being in a room and doing learning. But with edX, what we were getting was that digital component and just being able to learn from edX of how can we package, you know, something into a course. From a product standpoint, from also a learning objective standpoint, there's a lot of things that we were getting from edX, but also from a platform standpoint, we wanted to sort of accelerate our platform. So adopting edX and using what we had on edX was useful. We did actually start with a prototype version before edX, which was custom, and that, you know, did gain a lot of traction. But, you know, in terms of McKinsey, it is a global audience, right? So we needed that scale, which edX has offered to us. So that's also been pretty useful, and I think that's why we went with edX.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you, Chimney. Thank you, Carolyn. Sorry we couldn't take more questions. Enjoy lunch and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.